Thousands of guitar players wishing to master the dark arts of metal have learned Metallica's Master of Puppets. If I could name one song to be the ambassador of heavy metal, it would be this one. It's got pretty much everything you want from one heavy metal song. Headbanging, chugging riffs, dark and sinister lyrics, a melodic and euphoric instrumental section, and a fairly complicated rhythm section, and that is what I would like to talk about today. While a lot of people are performing the song correctly, almost everybody is writing it incorrectly. And I want you to take a look at the official transcription to see what I'm talking about here. So we're looking at the verse section, and you can see it starts off with one measure of palm mutes on an E power chord. Then we have one measure of slide E power chords. Then we have another measure of palm muted eighth notes. And then we have the mystery measure.
Mystery measure.
Now what you see here in the notation, it's written as 5/8. But let's take a listen to what that sounds like. Now, I don't know about you, but that does not sound like Master of Puppets. Let's try the other interpretation in 6/8. Once again, there's something wrong here, and you might be able to guess the answer is somewhere between these two. Let's take a closer look, an unnecessarily closer look. I found a blog post on Stephen Hudson's site Metal in Theory, and he published a visual analysis of this entire section. By looking at the transients in Audacity and plotting the time between them, his mathematics showed that the average eighth note was 0.15 seconds. And during our mystery measure, the time elapsed is 0.79 seconds. That's enough time to fit in 5 eighth notes and an additional quarter of an eighth note. And 1/4 of 1 eighth note is a 32nd note. So what we're looking at here total is 21 32nd notes. That's right, Metallica composed in 2132. I think the important question to ask here is, did they compose it in 2132? I don't see any reason to think that the good folks at the Metallica Foundation intentionally wrote something this complicated. They don't have a history of writing complicated time signatures, especially at this level. Also, counting 32nd notes is not easy by anyone's standards, so it seems like a level of musicianship above what is found in the average Metallica song. I think what's more likely here is that they wrote the section as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, but up 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. When you play with a group of musicians for that long, you can get away with kind of doing things based on feel instead of based on strict timing. And by ignoring these rules of music, like the rhythmic grid, it's very easy to compose difficult to transcribe and complicated music. For example, if I placed a click track underneath my voice and tried to transcribe the resulting rhythms, it would be very difficult notation to read, including nested triplets, polyrhythms, metric modulation, and other strange symbols. This is actually a job that Steve Vai was tasked with when working for Frank Zappa. The natural rhythms of Zappa's voice ended up becoming morbidly complicated because there was no attention paid to when they were played on the beat. It was up to Steve Vai to find a way to notate it. Understanding the theory or rhythm of a section makes it that much easier to gain the feel of it. Once you've done that, you can kind of turn off your brain and perform it naturally and not have to worry about counting 21 32nd notes. So like most things in life, I think there's a balance here. This verse would have never existed if Lars Ulrich was a theory nerd and yelled at James Hetfield for rushing the 6/8 measure. But without theory nerds and theory itself, we're left using words like ba-dum-dum or a little faster to describe a section, instead of actually describing what's happening. Knowing this language of music makes it much easier to convey very difficult and abstract ideas, even though these ideas are extremely weird. I mean, think about it. You can't see time, you can't weigh it, feel it, hold it, smell it, yet we have a set of simple symbols in place that we can easily share with one another. And upon receiving this set of symbols, we can instantly perform a complicated sequence synchronized perfectly with one another without ever having communicated before. I think that's pretty cool.